Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you are new here, welcome. We're going to be doing Kenobi episode 6 review. If you have not seen the season finale, go watch it, come back, because it's going to get interesting. Well, and if you guys have been like keeping up with my reviews on the show, I could easily spend a whole rant about the shitty writing and what I didn't like about the episode and what I didn't like about the season. But I kind of don't want to do that, but I should though. Like I really should, but I'm not going to, because I feel like at the end of the day, and I think I've asked you this before, Descent, but I've never experienced this with the show where there's like I'm like so conflicted on it, because there is a lot of good moments, but the bad writing kept me from like putting it up here. So we have a friend, shout out to you, Brandon. Brandon's rating was a 7.5 out of 10. And I really feel like that's a fair rating to give the show, right? I wouldn't give it any lower, but it shouldn't have been a 7.5 out of 10. It should have been a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, right? Maybe that's our fault for like our expectations being so high, but it's because like it's McGregor and like it's Hayden Christensen coming back, and it's tricky when you're doing shows and movies in that time period, right? Because you're going to piss a lot of fans off, and you're getting too close to already established canon, right? Like you could do something that like contradicts something someone said in episode 4 or 5, and you could do something that contradicts the prequel. So I feel like they would do better to move on to like maybe the Old Republic or the future, because then you're not messing with established canon and you're not really like endangering the reputation of the legacy characters, which Rian Johnson, in my opinion, has done that with Luke, right? He was like depressed old hermit drinking titty milk, and my dad was a galactic murderer and I want to save my dad, but hey, I had a bad vision and a bad dream about my nephew, and now I'm contemplating killing my nephew, right? That's not the goddamn Luke. Do you not like money? Seriously, like has anybody ever asked people like Rian Johnson that? Because if they would have gave us episode 8 Luke like kicking ass with his green lightsaber, right, and like being the hero we all knew he was, you would have made so much money, dude. And it's like at this point, it's like people don't like money. But anyway, back to Kenobi. So one of the moments in the show, right, where him and Vader are fighting. Well, and they had said it was going to be rematch of the century. Clearly, it wasn't rematch of the century, which I'm not upset about. But why say it's rematch of the century if it's not rematch of the century? Right, and it's like, hey, and by the way, if you're mad about my take on episode 8, like Mark Hamill himself didn't like Luke in episode 8. Like Mark Hamill himself questioned Rian Johnson and doesn't consider that Luke his Luke, right? So before you start jumping on the whole Andrew's a episode 8 hater, I am, but if you like it, cool, and like I respect that, I truly do. But when Vader and Kenobi fight in this episode, and the mask breaks, right? The same thing happened in Rebels when Ahsoka and Vader fought. The mask broke. You get to see Anakin. You get to hear Anakin's voice. And I thought to myself how jarring that would be. Like how jarring that would be to like you're looking at your brother who you thought was just burning on Mustafar 10 years ago and died. You thought he died. He was burning, dude. And you're looking at him and he's telling you like, hey, I killed Anakin. I killed him. Like and you're looking at him and you're like, I felt Kenobi's like when he was looking and like crying and he said, Anakin, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Like that. I felt that, bro. I was like, damn, dude, imagine like somebody you knew since a little kid. You trained him. You basically raised him. You called him your brother. He was supposed to be the chosen one. He was supposed to be one of the greatest Jedis ever. He was going to be a good dad, a good husband to Padme. And you're looking at him and he's just a charred robot. And you're like, he played Justin, bro. And when McGregor's eyes like were tearing up, you can tell the real actor was crying. Like you can tell the actor had put so much emotion into that role that he felt like that he was really looking at his brother, dude. That's what it felt like to me. And that's what I liked about that scene. It was kind of fucking, to me, it was jarring to see Kenobi like lift up like 50 or 100 rocks at once. And I was like, oh, okay. Because Brandon was right. A couple episodes before, you know what I mean? It's like you could barely get a boner. But now we're lifting up 100 rocks. I mean, at the same time, this episode didn't really do anything for me on the Reva side, because you could literally take Reva out. And I don't understand why she didn't die this episode, right? They're trying to tell us that like nobody knows where Luke's, like, no one knows the existence of Luke, really, and why Kenobi's on that planet watching him. Now she does, and she ends up making out of this alive. Sorry. You know what I mean? I think that might be one of my only gripes about this episode, really, is that she was able to leave knowing Luke's existence and knowing why Kenobi's there. And because when Maul shows up in Rebels, right, once he kind of teases to Kenobi that he knows why he's there and like he kind of figures that he's watching over somebody important, Kenobi kills him. And you gotta go, bud. Right? So like, I don't know. That would, to me, they're probably saving her for like season 2 or her own show, but you didn't have to do it in this show. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to set her up to be a good character? Cool. Just not in this show, right? But and it was funny seeing Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. They were fighting her with their guns, and like she was like reflecting with their lightsaber. Like now, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were this, which I thought that was kind of cool. But I don't know, man. I still at the end of this series, I didn't change my mind about the actress who played young Leia. To me, she still killed it. She was convincing, right? So when you see Luke for a little bit, that's the kid who plays Luke. Like I didn't see Luke. Like, I didn't feel that would be a young Luke. But when I look at the actress who played young Leia, I feel like that's Leia. Like, I felt like I was looking at a young Carrie Fisher. So I thought that was still cool, right? Overall, should they make a season 2? I say no. Now, if they do make a season 2, I'm not going to be angry about it, right? Like, I'll be happy to see, like, what they do with the next and where they can take the story. But, you know, I thought it was cool that we saw the Emperor at the end. We saw a little cameo of the Emperor. We saw Qui-Gon, obviously. Like, we had to see Qui-Gon, bro. If he wasn't in the show, like, I would have lost so much faith in it because, like, Obi-Wan was calling out to him all season, right? So when we finally see Liam Neeson at the end, it was cool to see Force Ghost Liam Neeson, right? And then he wasn't doing his, like, I was at a bar, and I had me a little stick, and I was following all the black people around trying to figure out what was going on. You know, when he was doing that rant, I said on the phone. I'm Liam Neeson, and I went outside a bar, and I was stalking every person of color. I was trying to see which one had something to see. But I was actually scared that incident would be the reason that they wouldn't have him in the show, and it wasn't the reason. So it was cool to see Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon again. Like I said, overall, if you're a fan of Star Wars and you're a fan of the prequels, I think you will like the show. Like, I honestly think there's some good moments in it that will let you enjoy the show. There is a lot of stuff I could be picky about, and oh, this part wasn't good and this, and I could spend all episode doing that, right? I can make fun of the writing and the inconsistencies, and oh, Reva got stabbed in the stomach, and she's just waltzing on the Tatooine like, where's Luke Skywalker? Like, I'm talking like Liam Neeson, but like, seriously, I can do that all episode.
I was in the club and I had my lightsaber looking for the nearest Sith.
I was looking for someone who looked like Reva. I was looking for someone who looked like Moses Ingram. I was walking around the cantina with a little booch, what does he call it? What did they call the stick he had?
I don't know.
Oh, I was with my lightsaber looking for any person of color to attack, you know? Because when he did that rant, bro, I was so scared that they weren't going to have him in the show anymore, so... But you know what I mean, and like when you see him, you can't help but think of that little interview he did where he spilled the beans on that. It's like, hey, if I was his publicist, I would have been so mad, bro. Like, what are you doing, dog? You know what I mean? Like anybody's publicist would have been like, no, cut. He's like, no, I've got to say it. I got to say what's in my heart. You know, I got to say the truth.
I need to speak me truth.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing and I'll say it again, the only thing I'm really mad about was like Reva's character. Like, she serves no purpose other than being a new character, and now we have somebody who knows of Luke's existence and where he's at and why Kenobi's guarding him, and she lives, right? It kind of made Vader look incompetent, which, by the way, Vader was good in this season. In this show, Vader was amazing. I love the Vader scenes. But you made my boy look incompetent when he puts a fucking lightsaber through her tummy, right? And no amount of Pepto-Bismol is saving that. Like, no amount, right? Like, he puts it right in her. Oh, he puts it in her, dog. And when in that, he just walks away. And it's like, bro, I know Vader wouldn't have walked away. Especially from somebody he knows his true identity. And again, it's a problem with the writing that I could have spent on something else. So, but yeah, and I'll go back to the question before we end the show. Should Kenobi get a season 2? I want to say yeah, but again, this show happens so close to like Rebels and A New Hope and just like established legacy characters and that type of canon in general, that they'd really have to convince me that season 2 would even be worth doing. And I don't think they can do that. I don't think they're going to be able to convince me that season 2 is worth doing without, like, you know, if you get the same writing team, please, no season 2. Like, for real, like, no season 2. But again, if you promise that the writing will be a little better and it won't interfere with any like legacy character canon, I'm down for a season 2. I would always, Ian McGregor looked like he had fun, and that's the whole point of Star Wars, is to have fun and enjoy the entertainment, and it's stories that you can walk away from and feel like, hey, I can establish this in my own life. But yeah. If you guys enjoyed the review, please share with everybody that you know, because I'm kind of desperate. Not playing, but if you guys liked the review style of stuff we've been doing the last couple weeks, I can try to do more stuff when other shows come out. And yeah, until next time, guys, peace.